Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by OK Promise. Am I the jerk for not fighting the school to allow my daughter to do cheerleading since the athletic trainer denied her? I am so tired and need an outside opinion. The school's athletic trainer, Beth, is a very strict woman. She started 2 years ago, and at the time I thought she was just being a jerk and on a power trip. She was not. All she was asking for his basic respect. This became really apparent when the school had a meeting about her and went through every single incident with her. They used the camera footage for a lot of incident. Parents know that office is recorded, and it showed the kids were awful and she was professional. The kids were awful and ended up having a tantrum when she told them no many times, the kids calling her names, and it really made me reevaluate my opinion on her. One example for reference, one kid needed to do a balance test and take off their shoes. She had a fit and refused to do so. The athletic trainer told her that was fine, but without it they can't play. She took off her shoes and called her some lovely names, not to mention the parents getting on her butt for it. Now my daughter is a sophomore, 15, and she needs to do a concussion test in the winter. If she doesn't, then she can't cheer. She knew about the whole thing, and they had a practice for the thing. She gave everyone a time to be in her office. My daughter got a time and didn't go in at that time. She went in at the end of practice when she was packing up. Beth told her no, and I am embarrassed to say it, but my daughter had a huge fit about it. Beth stood her ground on it and went home. Now she is on vacation and my daughter cannot cheer until the concussion test is done. That will probably be done in December, so she is missing a ton of cheer events due to Thanksgiving Fest. My daughter was pissed and wants me to fight the school. I told her no since I saw how she acted. I asked for the footage. That is what she gets for being inconsiderate to Beth. My wife wants to fight it, and both of them think I am a huge jerk. Our next post is by Throwaway. Am I the jerk for splitting the bill at dinner and not letting my boyfriend pretend he paid? I, 24F, have been dating Ben, 26M, for 8 months. For context, Ben and I are from different income brackets, and Ben has expressed that he sometimes feels a little bit weird about this because he is a gentleman at heart, but he says it's hard to treat me since I'm not really impressed by his gestures. I've said many times that I'm not concerned about these kind of things either way, but it comes up periodically. Last night Ben and I went to dinner with 6 of my friends. There were 3 men in total and 5 women. At the end of the dinner, the 2 guys, Max and Harry, said they would get the bill, as the guys usually do when we're out. Ben quietly said to me that he wasn't really comfortable with the guys paying for his dinner, so I said I'd chip in with the bill. Ben said thank you, but could he chip in and then I could pay him back afterwards because he didn't want them to know I was paying. This struck me as totally absurd because firstly, it's an unnecessary step. Second, even split the cost was something I wasn't sure he would realistically be able to cover. And third, I felt like he was trying to enter a pissing contest with my friends, which was just childish. I said no, that I would just pay, and then turned to everyone and said I'd chip in a third of the bill. No one batted an eyelid, but Ben was sulking. He's now mad at me, saying I emasculated him and made him look bad in front of my friends. I think he's overdramatizing it because my friends couldn't care less and he needs to get over himself. Am I in the wrong for not letting him save face? Our next post is by Valuable Burner. Am I the jerk for crying after my baby's gender was revealed? My wife, 31F, and I, 30M, were having a gender reveal for our first child. My wife doesn't mind what gender the baby is, she just wanted to get a few friends and family together for a small party, and she was under the impression that I thought that too. Neither of us were interested in doing anything big, we just had a friend to read out the letter and reveal the gender. I didn't tell my wife this, but I was really hoping for a daughter instead of a son, so when it was revealed that we'll be having a boy, it really upset me. I didn't want to ruin the day though, so I just tried to act normal and celebrate with my wife and the family. Later on, after everyone had left, I was alone in our room whilst my wife was downstairs. I was sitting on the bed and just started crying. I don't often cry, I think it's a waste of my time and unnecessary, but I was just really panicking. I really wanted a daughter because my dad was really crappy to me and he messed me up a lot. I'm scared that I will be the same to my son. I don't want to screw my son up like my dad did to me. I've been scared about turning into my dad since before I met my wife. The big reason I didn't want kids originally was in case I treated them like my dad treated me. My wife walked in on me crying and I tried to explain why without talking about my dad much. She doesn't know anything about what my dad was like. She told me that I was selfish and called me a few other things, then told me to sleep on the couch. She hasn't really been the same with me since. She's still really annoyed. Am I the jerk? Edit. I'm not going to reply to all of the comments, but I have read them all, so thank you so much. I am going to try and find a way to tell my wife about my childhood. I've just never spoken to anyone about it before. Our next post is by McCrickle. Am I the jerk for ignoring my selfish neighbor when my baby cries? I am the father of a 1-year-old toddler. Recently, she started teething as her molars have started to come in. First, it was the top ones for about a week, then we had a week's break, and now the bottom ones are coming in. It's clearly causing my daughter a lot of pain, especially at night. Before, she was a good sleeper, but now it's been rough. She's been waking up around 1 a.m. and then 3 a.m. daily, screaming with her little fingers in her mouth. My wife and I have tried comforting her, bringing her in our bed. She sleeps in our room anyway, and her crib is next to our bed. But normally she likes to sleep cuddled up when she's uncomfortable. We've even given her baby Motrin to help with the pain, but she still screams for about 10 to 20 minutes each time until we are able to settle her. It's shrill and it sucks, but there's not much we can do beyond what we are already doing. We live on the ground floor of a new condo building. It's made of heavy concrete and decently soundproofed, but not perfect. Above us lives a single woman in her late 20s, early 30s. This is an expensive part of town in a new building, so we can assume she's decently moneyed. She also keeps her balcony door open all day and night that faces into our courtyard. She has been punishing us during the day by blasting loud music directly into our unit by putting a stereo next to her balcony. We are on the ground floor and have a fully enclosed courtyard, so it vibrates around. She's got great music taste, and my daughter will dance to it all day long. So while my wife hates her intention, I think it's worked out just fine, until now. Last night she came barging down at 3 a.m. and rang our bell 4 times while we were trying to settle our daughter. Motrin works for about 8 hours, so by 3 a.m. we have to give her another dose and wait through the cries, cradling her for 15 to 20 minutes for it to kick in again. My wife, a strong-tempered petite woman, amplified by her first year of motherhood, wanted to go fight her then and there, but I said let's just concentrate on settling the baby and ignore her. I also didn't want to make the baby any more upset than she already was. So yeah, I just let her fume outside my door at 3 a.m. Am I the jerk? Update. I delivered a small care package to her door with a long letter and a bottle of wine and chocolates. She was not home, so I put it next to the door. We are only here for a couple months, temp rental, until we finish construction, but I'd rather offer an olive branch than see all the pettiness continue. Yes, it sucks to be woken up. Yes, it's a shared building. Yes, people throw parties here until 3 a.m. on the weekends. Yes, babies cry and we try our best. For those who live in very big cities, mine has 22 million, this is what you experience. I'm listening to loud mariachi music from the neighbor across the way right now. Our next post is by Classic Effect. Am I the jerk for beating my parents to the chase and moving out in the middle of the night? I, 18F, overheard conversations with my mom and my dad, 39F and 40M, about how they planned to kick me out shortly after my 18th birthday. The way they were talking about it seemed like they were dead serious, and the way it was brought up multiple times made it seem like they were going to kick me out too. So I decided that I wouldn't give them the chance to kick me out and made plans with my friend Riley, 17F, to stay at her place until I graduated and moved into a college dorm or had an apartment of my own. Riley's parents were horrified at the thought my parents would kick me out the second I turned 18 and agreed to let me stay at their place as long as I graduated high school. Riley, her parents, and my boyfriend Cole, 18M, came after midnight to help me take my belongings to their car and drive me to Riley's house. My parents woke up in the middle of this and asked me what the hell was going on. I kinda shrugged and told them that I was moving out before they could kick me out. My parents tried to deny this and attempted to stop me from leaving, but there was nothing that they could do since I'm a legal adult. By the way, I wasn't just going to leave in the middle of the night without saying goodbye. I already put a note on the kitchen table where my mom goes to first in the morning explaining what happened. Right now, I'm at Riley's house in their spare bedroom, and I've gotten bombarded with calls from my parents asking me to come back and not to tell my grandparents about this. In one text, my mom called me an ungrateful bee for leaving in the middle of the night, and that she should have kicked me out sooner. Thank Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.